everyone, Steve 7 from G13 Airsoft, and today I am going to do a review on the KWA SR10. This will be the first airsoft gun review for the channel, and it's a pretty unique one as this is, in a way, 10 years in the making. I personally own this KWA SR10 since 2013, so yeah, we're just around 10 years I've had this thing. Now, for those who don't know, KWA is a quite popular airsoft company. They've been around since 1988, and they've been producing a lot of really different and unique stuff, quite a few patented ideas, and a lot of proprietary parts. So if you're looking for a company that can have some trust and you think is going to stay around for a good bit, then KWA is definitely one of the ones to look into. So it should come no surprise a lot of people look at one of their most popular and long-lasting models, the KWA SR10. So starting out with some specs, starting at the buttstock, if you look online, which some pictures are overlay over it, that's the original buttstock it comes with. I put a Crytek buttstock on it, so that is different from what you see actually on the gun. Now moving on, the actual outer barrel is 368 millimeters, while the inner barrel is 425 millimeters, according to evike.com, which is where I got it 10 years ago. Now, let's think about that for a second. Outer barrel 368 millimeters, inner barrel 425 millimeters. Someone probably messed up there. I think that should be switched. The inner barrel is not longer than the outer barrel from what I can tell. Another feature is the front and rear sight that it comes with. They're actually very good quality. I got rid of them years ago, which kind of a shame that I did. Both were actually quite good, but I replaced them with some iron sights of my own. So it does come with a 14 millimeter threaded outer barrel, which would be great for any standard flash hider attachments or suppressor attachments you want to have on most airsoft guns. Should fit this one as well. Now the barrel diameter is 6.05 millimeters, which is standard, nothing special there. FBS is advertised at 380 at 0.2 gram. We'll talk about that later. The rate of fire is 18 FPS, which sounds about right. I don't have a chronograph with me today, but as you see, here's some overlay footage with the full auto fire. It's pretty accurate. Automatic fire. With the weight being around 6.5 pounds and normal Tamiya connector, which still kind of the standard, though more and more companies are going to the Dean's connector by default. Again, this is a 10-year-old rifle. Range is between 180 and 200 feet out of the box, though it is getting closer to the 180 feet without internal upgrades, and we'll get to that later as well. Other notes is, since this rifle has been around for so long, some newer additions if you were to get the rifle today would include the newer 2GX gearbox and the Z6 high performance bucking, both of which were not in this original gun when I got it. Now those are some standard specs you will see just out of the box or advertised online, but I have made some changes over time. Starters with the buttstock. So again, I switched out that standard one with the Crytek buttstock. This was due to the fact that the standard one is very common for the butt plate coming off while you're playing. Sometimes a piece of a gear rubs against the two quick release panels and out goes your buttstock, and now your battery's just hanging there. Didn't want to deal with that after a couple years of dealing with that problem, so I eventually got the Crytek, where over the years of multiple airsoft guns I only had that incident happen once. Every other time it's been a solid buttstock. The next issue is the actual buffer tube itself. Sometimes it gets loose with the screw inside of it. Very common for a lot of M4 style airsoft guns. I mean, it just happens to a lot of use. Maybe every 6 months to a year, I might start getting pretty loose. Just bring a long screwdriver down there, standard Phillips head, and just tighten it up. You're going to be fine. All right, moving on to the hop up. So a very common issue with these older style systems is you pull the charging handle back, the dust cover opens up, and inside is the standard wheel system. I'll get a close-up picture of that. Now the issue is with this is when you bring this charging handle back forward, such as this, or letting spring tension take care of it, you also see the plate right here push against the hop up system. What this tends to do is screw up your hop up, making you having to do it again. It's an old school problem. They have different hop up systems to deal with it now, but you know, it is a issue of its time, and it's still a very common hop-up system, a lot of airsoft guns. Now the next issue is the mag release screw. It's a hexagonal screw that's very small and very easy to strip if you ever mess with it. After one too many times of doing so, I realized I was stripping it, so I tightened it down the best I could and just super glued the top over, and funny enough, has actually held for goodness 5-6 years at this point. But I mean, that's not a good design. A lot of aftermarket companies now going to larger Phillips head for their mag releases, and it's just a better system. So again, product of the time. Now in terms of magazine compatibility in particular, outside of KWA, there are some companies that will fit inside these guns. It's not, a small list, but it is smaller than a lot of other standard AEGs out there on the market. Even the EMG mags I use for one of my other guns, it can fit, but it's a pretty tight fit. So it is best of KWA, kind of a con. The best magazines to use is the KWAs, which aren't the cheapest in the world, but they are worth every penny, as the mags themselves are also testimony to a lot of the durability of KWA's products. I know these mags, some of these I spray painted a couple of times. I've had these almost as long as the original Airsoft gun, getting close to around 10 years themselves. Unfortunately, it's kind of an issue as well, because what you're starting to see is a lot of these mags are having kind of on their wits end when it comes to spring tension. I'm going to show some overlaid footage showing what's been happening, and you see how it's starting to have double feeding issues, or me having to hold the magazine in the mag well to make sure it feeds correctly. Again, all symptoms of old age, but remember, this was only happening really the last couple of months of its life. A lot of these mags have been around for a very, very long time. All right, moving on to the rail system. It is a quad rail free float, which is pretty cool. Pretty decent in quality. We will get to that. But one thing I do have an issue with its design, and I will show some zoom in pictures of it, is once again tiny hexagonal screws. Unfortunately, while I think the newer models have gotten that fixed on the mag release screw, they have not changed that on the rail system. So if you ever want to take the rail system off for some reason, don't. Because once you get the screws off, the rail system will forever stay wobbling and loose no matter how much you attempt to retighten with those screws. And if you try to retighten them anyway, what's going to happen is the screws are going to get stripped. You're going to have to get new ones, Loctite them, get them in there, and it's still never going to be as perfect as the factory one. Now going to the barrel and sort of some of the internals would be the hop-up as well, is over the years I have swapped out the bucking and the barrel. The bucking, can't remember the details on it, but I just quickly looked up, hey, what are some good buckings? Threw one in there. And then I threw in a 6.03 type bore instead of the standard 6.05. Both of those together without doing anything else to the gearbox, battery, or motor got me another 20 feet, getting me better within the 180 to 200 foot range. Again, which is kind of average for a lot of airsoft guns, but a good standard average, right?
Back here.
Hey, one's moving inside the trench. You see him?
Nope.
Oh, wait, did I actually get him? No way. All right. The backup gun, 2013 KWA, baby. Outside of that, over the course of 10 years, I have done nothing else internally different to this gun. I will clean the barrel. I will clean, the barrel from the inside of the hop-up unit and the mag well, and that's it. Never got the gearbox clean. Never changed out the motor. Nothing else really outside of the external washdown. So it really is a testament to the durability of this airsoft gun over the years that it's been able to go so far despite being abused so much. And lastly, which is kind of the final death nail in the coffin of this gun, will be where you see here I have put electric tape around the attachment point of the rail system to the upper receiver. This is because after 10 years of use, I've used it one too many times, pulled it out of my rifle bag after a day of use, and realized at some point the rail system actually broke away from the upper receiver, and I'll have some pictures for you overlaid with this. Unfortunately, that sucks. I was able to tape it, but as you can see in this footage, it's still a little bent. It doesn't affect the barrel itself, but it does affect the rail system, which is what you're actually holding. So this is kind of fitting, because I was thinking about doing this review anyway, and then that happened. I said, yeah, you know what? 10 years have been a pretty good run with this guy. One more thing I want to stress is despite the sadness going on with this rail system, this has really been an incredibly durable airsoft gun. I have used this a lot over the 10 years, with goodness, at least 5 of those years, this being my primary airsoft gun. And then after that were a lot of rental use. So I had a lot of guys who would help out some fields. They have a gun breakdown. Instead of paying money to get a rental gun, I'll let them borrow this one. This thing has been through a lot of hands, a lot of abuse. You'll see some close-up photos of the finish being scratched up and dented. That's all genuine. It's really been through a lot, and it is still chugging along, and it is still working. So going on to price. So back in 2013, I got this for around $250. Now it's around $350. So with that said, would I recommend this thing? And I would say if you can get it for $250, absolutely. There are some airsoft guns you can get cheaper at a similar performance as this, but getting something within $250 with that type of performance, quality, durability, and reliability, again, minus those mags getting pretty old in it, I would say this is a really good bang for your buck. And it definitely was for the time. It was definitely one of the higher recommended ones 10 years ago. With that said, the industry's changed, both in other products competing with this, but also with this price increase to $350. At that range, I would still loosely recommend this, but understand there's way better options out there at the $350 price range. So, with that said, that is the end of this review and the end of this SR10. This thing's been great to me. I'm still going to take care of it, still going to use it where I can. But you know what? If I ever replace it, it's probably going to be with another SR10. Until then, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you around. First off, KWA is a company that was first founded in 1988 in Taiwan, also known as Actual China.